review of the 2015 Lexus CT 200H F Sport. This is the variant to get if you're in the market for it. It has knockout styling, a little bit sportier than the normal one, but not really in terms of interior and performance. It's really pretty much the same car. The exterior though really improves upon the standard form. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Hit that subscribe button and like button, and let's do this. The styling of this CT200H, I have always loved it. The F Sport trim just makes it a million times better, in my opinion. The wheels are perfectly matched to the car. I have the LED, I mean, this car is on right now. It's completely silent. You're gonna hear the waves hitting the bank and the wind noise over this engine because it's not on, right? It's a hybrid. It might kick on during my walk around here, but you have this awesome LED headlight, and then this car, it is a little bit older for Lexus, so they don't have the modern check mark LED running lights, but it still looks really good. They don't also have the modern spindle grille, which some of you are okay with, but it still looks really good. I think it kind of looks like the spindle grille, the design of it, of the LC500. The LC500 is a very similar spindle grille to this in terms of the design. Now it doesn't look quite as mesmerizing as that grille, but this does a really good job in my opinion. And I like how the previous owner never put a license plate in the front here, which is required legally, technically, in Nebraska, but many people don't do it. You can see the nice blue accented Lexus logo, looks super sharp. Now I just noticed this for the first time. This is chrome on the top of the spindle grille, of course that is too, but down here is more like a polished aluminum. So a little contrast there. This car in the obsidian color looks really sharp. You can see this does have a rock and chip guard on it, which covers like half the hood in this car because the hood is so small, and it covers the mirror and the front fender as well. Here are the wheels. I want to say they are 17-inch wheels, P215 by 45 R17. So pretty, I mean, not super low profile, but they just fit this car very well. As you can see here from the side, we have the huge F Sport logo on the side, which stands out a lot on this black paint color. And then you have, of course, your hybrid mark right there. I love this little window. I think it looks great, and it kind of just flows into the rear windshield. Now, this rear diffuser here looks super cool. I'm not 100% sure if this is an F Sport only diffuser, but I love just the slots in it. I think it looks good. The shark fin looks good for the antenna. We have a tiny windshield wiper there. I'm sorry if I've been putting my finger in the camera the whole time. It wouldn't be the first time I did something like that. F Sport logo on the left. You can see the exhaust tip right there, but there's no outlet for it or anything like that. But this car just looks really handsome from every angle. It's very wide and low, almost kind of like the Veloster I reviewed. It handles very similar to that Veloster, and you're going to be getting 40 miles per gallon in this bad boy, or more. Your mileage, of course, will vary, but let's go ahead and get on the inside. We have the Lexus Hybrid Synergy Drive here. I want to say this car has about 138 horsepower. If you want to get a more in-depth review of the powertrain, the history of this car, just go ahead and check out my review of the red one I did a while back, the red CT200H. And just a reminder, this car doesn't have shocks. So just as a cost-saving measures, they put the old stick, but the stick is in a really good position for the mechanics to be able to work on this vehicle. And you see the inline four here, and then the electrical motor right here as well, with all those really cool Bane-like orange cables going in and out of it. On the inside of this 2015 CT200H hybrid, there is a few differences between this car and the normal one. because it is an F-Sport, we have this fully wrapped F-Sport leather steering wheel. Now, in the non-F-Sport, it is still leather all the way around. There's no wood steering wheel for the CT to my knowledge, but this one has the F-Sport badge. You can see the aluminum pedals down below. This does not have a Mark Levinson sound system. I do not believe you could even get the Mark Levinson sound system. However, it does have navigation, which a lot of CTs didn't come with. So you can see the Lexus Hybrid Drive. Volume knob is going to be there. Turn down, I think that was the Beebs. You can see your typical Lexus hybrid charging / hybrid tachometer, since it doesn't have a real tachometer. Very large speedometer there, and then I always have it either on that where you can see the battery charging and where all the power is going. You press this display button here and that's going to change. Now I really like this. Let's see if I can reset that. Okay, it's not letting me reset. Oh, there it goes. I had to hold down the display button. So after the end of our test drive, I'll be able to tell you our miles per gallon. Now I mentioned this does have navigation. So this is your little mouse that controls everything. We're just going to press a menu and home and then go to navigation. And there you go. So we can do a little split screen. I'm not going to play with the screens around too much. I prefer that it does full nav screen, but how this car was set up before we got in, there we go. Now you can see the full nav screen, which is pretty, it's small, but it's actually pretty high resolution. Hopefully the lines aren't bothering you too much. Very large rear view mirror, but it doesn't take too much of my visibility up. Visibility is decent in this car. The windshield is pretty small, being it a small vehicle, but the side windows are pretty good. And now you're gonna have a blind spot-ish area. That little tiny window back there does help with viewing. Here's your sunroof, and that's how you control it. Of course, here are your lights. Actually, you press this for the light, and this is gonna be your door lights, okay? We do have a little light that's gonna turn on. I'm gonna check myself out. You guys see, you know, pretty good, pretty high def vanity mirror there. Now, this trim right here is only in this part of the car. I don't see it anywhere else, which is unfortunate. I wish they would have put it around the door handles. And this is the same trim they use on the IS F Sport. So it's unfortunate that, you know, for 2019, Lexus still hasn't gotten rid of this. I don't think it looks bad. It just needs to be updated. We have a soft touch leather dome over the instrument cluster, and then a soft touch plastic molding for the rest of the dash. So you have this silver accent right here, goes all the way across, and it finishes over here again. Now, this is interesting. This is only in the CT, this type of striated fake leather here. It's very interesting. Now, the new ES, the 2019 ES, does have some sort of perforations like this in the leather. It's not quite as noticeable, nor quite as, it doesn't have as many little lines. It's like maybe 3 or 4 instead of hundreds, as you can see. Stitching's pretty good. It is a little plain. Nothing special about these window switches, nothing special really about the F Sport steering wheel. There's not a whole lot going on. Now you can control your radio here, your phone here, your display here, and I'll show you the other options. Off, either there. I like this one because this is a hybrid. Even though it's an F Sport, it is still the same power plant underneath. We have a little phone holder, or I don't know, cigarette holder. I don't know why would you ever smoke in a Lexus, but I'm sure some of you guys have done it. Or maybe a cigar. Here's your 12 volt, and then you have your connectivity there. 2 cup holders here. They're pretty large and in charge. Back here, there's no connectivity to my knowledge. I just threw that coin tray out of the way to reveal absolutely nothing but more space. So that's about it. Now this seat, the bolstering is pretty good. you know, it's not the sportiest seat, it's not the most detailed seat. As you can see, there are those lines in the leather part, but it's very comfortable. It's not stiff at all, and the bolsters are going to keep me in place when I push this car a little bit harder. You can see this honeycomb all-weather mat, which is really cool, and I haven't seen this type of honeycomb mat in any other car besides the CT. Well, I should say Lexus vehicle, but let's go ahead and get in the back seat. The back seat is pretty small. It's probably the smallest four-door Lexus you're ever going to get into. Now you can see there's a good amount of space back here. I should straighten out this mat. It's going to bother me. Nice honeycomb mat again. And then the person in front, probably if they're under 6 feet tall, they're going to have no problem. So there is a good amount of space back here. I like the mat pockets. The back of the seats are soft, so my knees can dig into it, which the driver probably wouldn't like too much because I'm moving the seat, as you can see. But the back of this is very premium, very high quality materials. The rest of the door is very similar to the one up front. And then we don't have an armrest or anything like that back here, which is kind of a disappointment that you don't have that armrest. There's no connectivity. You know, this car probably came out in 2014 as a 2015 model. And I forgot to go over this real quick, guys. This is your drive. You can see how flimsy it is. It takes some getting used to, but it's very Prius-like. Of course, there's your radio, which I'd probably just take that out, yank that bad boy out, and put in an aftermarket one. And then you have this, your sport modes, which we'll test sport mode today to see. And I've heard rumors that it actually helps a little bit with the get up and go in this car. Of course, you have your heated seats. But let's go ahead and open up the trunk. In the back here, I'm always surprised how much space there is in the back of a CT. Again, we have this, it's a different style of honeycomb, but you still have that honeycomb. We have a net. Your normal mats are going to be back here as well. We have this little light, just in case you need to see back here. And I just love these tiny little tiny windows back here. I think they're a really nice feature. Of course, this has a tonneau cover, and you're going to be able to fold down the rear seats, which I'm not going to do because in order to do that, I'm going to have to move both seats, front seats, forward quite a bit just to get these seats folded down. But you know, there's a really good amount of space back here, and even more if you're able to fold down the seats in the second row. Okay, let's test this bad boy out. Now, the engine's not on right now. As you guys know, a hybrid will only engage the engine when needed under either high acceleration events, or if it needs to help with, you know, processes such as charging the battery or climate control functions. So I love hybrids for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest reasons being obviously fuel economy, but the second biggest reason, in my opinion, is going to be better brakes. Now, they don't always, I mean, they're going to be very similar in terms of stopping distance and stopping power, but they last a lot longer. You don't have to change your brake pads nearly as much because the motors in here, the regenerative motors, and the regenerative braking system charges the battery, so it doesn't use the brake pads nearly as aggressively as you would in a normal car that's not a hybrid. I just put it in sport mode for the first time, and it changed the blue accent to a red accent, and it changed the little digital charging hybrid screen to a real tachometer. So I'm really excited to just get into it and see if it performs any differently here as I accelerate. I'm behind an Ultima, which would smoke this car in a drag race. So 3, 2, 1, and we're going to roll onto the acceleration. Good immediate torque. The immediate torque from the electric motors really shove you forward, and I'm pedal to the metal, and that's 60, and that's plenty of acceleration. You don't really need much more than that. Most of you will want more than that, and that's perfectly fine. But now that I'm on the freeway, I'm just going to press the drive mode down, and we're going to go to our normal mode. I really didn't feel much of a difference between the sport mode and the non-sport mode, but it's a nice little feature that it changes the dash with a red light, and it changes your normal hybrid charging indicator to a real tachometer. So it's really nice. Road feel there is quite a bit of vibration in this car. Not from the motor, but from the road. So, which is kind of expected. This is a sportier car. Everyone knows this is not... It is a Lexus, but at the same time, it's not really the highest luxury Lexus. This was the entry level when this car came out, an entry level for Lexus. Now they stopped making it in 2017. But these F Sport models are still one of the, in my opinion, they're still one of the best looking Lexuses you can find on the road. So I feel like this F Sport I'm driving is still going to have a good following, even though it looks way, the bark is way meaner than the bite, meaning this car looks way more aggressive and sporty and faster than actually how it performs. I'm just going to switch to my current MPG, and I'm getting about 40-ish, going about 60 to 65 miles per gallon, which is really good. You know, most cars are going to get around 30 miles per gallon, so this is going to get you about 25 to 30% better fuel economy than another car of this time period. You know, you might be able to get mid-30s from some of your smaller vehicles, but in town this car is going to get in the 40s, which is really, really good. But even our modern, like our 2019 Lexus ES, that thing is going to be getting like 45 miles per gallon in town with a lot more power, a lot more luxury. You know, the price tag is a lot higher. This is a $24,000 car 3 years later, whereas the ES is going to be about 45 to 50 grand for that hybrid. So not really in the same class. I'm just kind of comparing our most efficient hybrid for Lexus. Like I mentioned, visibility is actually really good. You know, the rear window is kind of small, as you guys can see that back there. It's not very big, but I can still see directly behind me. I don't really have any problems with visibility. Some things I feel like this car could have, and it doesn't have it on this particular model. As far as I know, this has every single upgrade this car can have. It doesn't have blind spot monitor. It does have backup camera though. It doesn't have adaptive cruise control, just has your standard cruise control. But you know, this car is going to be kind of succeeded by the UX, which at the end of the month, I'm going to Chicago. I'll have tons of footage and impressions on the UX once I get my hands on it. But the UX is replacing this car. Now, the UX will also, in its hybrid trim, because you can get it in a non-hybrid as well, but in the UX, that's going to have all-wheel drive in the hybrid form, which this car could only have dreams. Now, on paper, this car also gets better fuel economy than the UX. I mean, it's way more aerodynamic. But in town, it's probably going to be pretty similar, especially with the new technology they're putting in that UX that remembers your driving patterns and your daily commute to better prepare the recharging capabilities of the car and the battery. And hit them. Brakes are really good. They feel better. Let's floor it real quick. Now there's not much there, but that's okay. There's 45. I mean, that's plenty. And it's just smooth. Even though this car is slow, it's very, very smooth. It's nice and buttery smooth, and I do appreciate that. It feels like a Lexus in terms of its smoothness, and it's, you know, it feels like it's an effortless acceleration, even though I'm not accelerating a whole lot. I'll hit the brakes, or hit on the brakes. Ooh, I'm literally hitting on them because the cement truck just pulled right out in front of me. But the brakes at like parking lot speeds are very, very touchy. But when you're decelerating from a good speed, let's say 30 mile per hour plus, there's no vibration. The pedal, it's very linear and it's very strong. I would say A+ brakes for sure. But let's go ahead and start putting this thing through the handling. Flooring it. Oh yeah, hardly any body roll. This car just feels really, really planted. I can't imagine what the UX will feel like with its all-wheel drive in the hybrid. That thing will probably handle even better. But man, this thing feels like a little go-kart. It's Very, very, very quick to turn in. Steering is A+, and there's a car parked in my review spot again. This time it's like a Lincoln, the Lincoln version of the Ford Edge, whatever, the MKX, is that what it is? MK sucks. Okay, well I'll just do my review here. No problemo for me. Luckily this roundabout is very big. But let's go ahead and sum up this car. It is in my driving, you can see that I averaged 35. Well, actually, that's like a fill-up average. This is the full average. I averaged 32, and I pretty much floored it like every time I had the chance. If you baby this car, your mileage is going to be closer to 40. But let's go ahead and sum up this car. So I don't know if you guys ride motorcycles or not, or have ever ridden one, but there's an old saying that it's very true in many, many ways. It's better to drive a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow. The majority of motorcycles that you drive have so much power, and they just have like no weight to them, right? It's just like wheels and a motor and a frame, that you can't ever really use the full power of most motorcycles out there. However, when you're talking about a car, most of the time you never ever floor your car in day-to-day usage and day-to-day traffic. And this CT, or any Prius for that matter, you find yourself flooring it to keep up with traffic, and there is a sense of fun to that. Now, it's not the most secure feeling, because it's like, this is all I got, that's all she's got, I can't go any quicker, but it's like, ooh, I'm actually going, I'm giving it all she's got. And there's a sense of excitement and fun to that, even though I'm not going fast. I might be a little crazy, I am crazy, but let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a certain sensation that you're tapping this car out, you're doing everything you can to keep up with traffic when you're, getting on the freeway, and there's a sense of satisfaction. And then when you're actually going faster than other cars, you're accelerating faster than them, it's like, oh yeah, she still got it. She's got enough. She's got enough to keep up with the soccer moms, and she does. So just let me know what you guys think of the old Dodge. It's better to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. That sums it up for the review of the 2015 Lexus CT200H F Sport. That's a mouthful. This car looks amazing. It handles really well. You're going to get amazing fuel economy, over 40 if you're a little ginger on the accelerator. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm really excited, guys, to give you my future impressions of the Lexus UX, which is going to succeed this car. This car stopped in 2017, as you know, and the UX is coming out this December of 2018. I'll see you in the comments below and in the next video. Thanks.